If you are offered immortality, would you take it? Let me rephrase that. Imagine you're a young girl. Your biggest problem right now are your grades, making plans with your friends, and these budding feelings for a fellow classmate. By a cruel joke of fate and perhaps your own curiosity, you discover magic exists. And then, you're given an opportunity. Learn these magical powers yourself. And by consequence, become an immortal being. Don't get me wrong, Madoka is a great magical girl, but I'm not here to talk about her today. Today, I want to introduce you to one of my favorite magical girl shows. Perhaps even more loved than the quintessential magical girl, Sailor Moon. Which is crazy to say because Sailor Moon shaped me so much as well. But today, I want to talk about the moment that this girl realized that what she had been working towards for the entirety of her magical journey might not have been worth it. She might not want it anymore. And that's okay, because she's the unluckiest pretty girl in the world. If you grew up in Japan, the US, or a couple of European countries, you might have heard of her before. Doremi Harukaze, or however her name was translated in your language. Dory Goodwin? Rain Griffith? Mirabelle Haywood? Why do I feel they gave you a southern accent? Oh my god, Umpu's name is Ellie Craft. I know they're all witch apprentices, but it's a bit on the nose, isn't it? Anyways, I won't let my nostalgia speak over other people's nostalgia, but since I, just like any other Brazilian child, just learning about the world of anime on a dial-up connection, I will be using the original Japanese names for them, as god.doremifansubs.com intended. Thank you very much. Hojamajo Doremi, or Magical Doremi, is a light-hearted anime that follows Doremi Harukaze, the self-titled unluckiest pretty girl in the whole world. Her biggest problems in life are her ever-failing grades, her chaotic but deep-down loving home life, and summoning up the courage to confess her feelings to this cute guy that goes to her school. She loves steak and has this whimsical interest in witches and anything magical, believing them to be true. But believing and seeing are two completely different things, aren't they?
魔女は子供が大嫌いなので、子供が近づいてきても匂いですぐわかるように鼻が大きいってことは、やっぱりリカさんって何を魔女
For reasons I should not spoil here, and hear your spoiler warning. This is a 25-year-old show now. Hell, it's probably older than that. And however important spoiler warnings are, a show such as this, I believe, doesn't lose its impact if you know where it's going. If you would rather experience it for yourself, here's your chance. Save this video, come back later. 4 seasons and a little OVA season might sound like a lot, but as soon as you fall in love with these casts and their relatable everyday problems, you're never gonna want to leave, honestly. I know why you didn't. While witches are free to travel to the human world through a few portals scattered around the globe, they mustn't ever be found out by a human. Fail at this, and a curse is instantly cast on this witch, turning them into a frog? Sure, I'll take it. Frog. The only way for this curse to be lifted is to turn the person who has discovered you into a witch apprentice themselves, hoping that one day they'll pass the 9 tests to become a full witch and finally be able to turn the witch frog back to their original form. Until then, they are free to hone their magic to their heart's content. The rules are simple, yet clear. Magic cannot be used to heal others, and in the same vein, it cannot bring someone back from the dead. An eye for an eye, the law of equal exchange. The injury will be transferred to the one who cast the spell, and in the case of death, the caster will take the place of the dead. Number 2, magic cannot be used to manipulate people's hearts. Any attempt to change how someone thinks or feels will have dire consequences as well. Not instantly, perhaps, but it's inevitable.
みんなの今日の記憶よ、消えろ気絶しておるだけじゃ。音符お前。さあ、早く中へ。音符ちゃん、大丈夫大丈夫。ここはどこ？お母さん。ドレミ。音符ちゃんが。音符ちゃんが。音符ちゃん。
This won't be the first time the girls lose their witch stones. even as the group expands to accommodate more witch apprentices, new friends, every season finale will see them all ready to take their witch stones, which will mark them as full witches, only to lose them again and again, until one day.
やっと魔女になれるんだ。
魔女の儀式を始める前に、もう一度あなたたちの気持ちを確認させてください。これが最後の機会ですから。それで本当によろしいのですね。
魔女になるということは、魔女見習いでも人間でもなくなることなのだ。
自由に魔法が使えるだけではなく、寿命が延びることでもあるのです。それは家族や友人たちとは別の時を生きるということなのです。
4 years. Now what? A light-hearted anime, huh? I stand by that statement, but every now and then it will... well...
プロのピアニスト目指してたのは知ってるわよね。
うん、でも事故で指を骨折して諦めたんでしょ。
お母さん何度死のうと思ったかわからなかったわ。
のんちゃんの力かも。
Hard truths and relatable problems aren't exactly new in Ojamajo Doremi by the time we get to episode 40 of the 4th and last season. But this specific episode, from the get-go, feels different. Something about how it was written, how even in the short 20 minutes it's given to breathe, every second of it feels like it gives you the time to sit with your own thoughts, to follow Doremi in this journey. This time an internal one, as she battles with her own feelings of inadequacy and the shadow that her own incoming future seems to be casting over her. Later, I would find out this episode was directed by Mamoru Hosoda. Yes, that Mamoru Hosoda. I won't be going in depth about his influence in this episode, as there's a delightful article from Wave Motion Canon you can check out in the description. It was really nice to read, and I really do recommend it. But it makes sense from the get-go. The perfect nostalgic summer evening vibes on the first scene. Even the framing of the shots feel different and more thoughtful as the episode opens with a wide shot of the fork on the road that would change Doremi. We will keep seeing this metaphor throughout the episode as each day passes and Doremi walks home with different friends. Yet they all have some sort of other activity planned. They all have skills and identities of their own, and at a specific moment in time, those identifiers leave Doremi alone. So she stands there in between paths. The familiar, the road to the witch shop where her mentor awaits, and the new, a street she has never threaded before. And she makes her choice. It should be the end for Doremi. Fated to become a witch frog, just like her mentor. Yet she's still here. Majo Mirai, the witch who chose to no longer use her magic. Doremi finds out that, although she has forgone her magic, Mirai is a woman of many talents. Her current skills lie with glass blowing, and as Doremi is offered to try it out, she appreciates how much hard work goes into this craft.
昔から2つのこといっぺんにやるの苦手なんだ。
そんなことない。初めてにしてはうまいって。
本当？
Doremi offers a tour of the city, her city, to Mirai, since she has just moved in. Doremi has lived here always, and it's everything she knows. Where her family lives and has lived, where her friends go to school. And now, as Mirai gifts her this shiny sphere, she can see it through a new lens. Beautiful. Dazzling. A multicolored tinted glass. The rose-tinted glasses of a witch to be. Another day, and Doremi visits Mirai alone again. She has an opportunity to wander Mirai's home, and that's when she finds it. Mirai's most precious memories. Pictures, old and new, gather inside a vintage vanity. People from everywhere around the globe, different backgrounds, different ages, family, friends, and something more. Doremi is almost tempted. Her life looks like a series of exciting vacations, adventures. Mirai explains they're not holidays. She's completely upheaving her life to move from place to place.
だってずっと同じとこにいてもいいじゃん。
ほらポーズ。それはね、同じ人間といるといろいろ不都合があるからよ。
不都合って？
だってあなたもこれから魔女になるんなら、
ここもいつか引っ越しちゃうの？
Then we get to her third visit, and her last. Mirai carefully teaches Doremi how to shape the freshly molten glass and proposes her with a choice in that moment. Cup or plate? Quick, before it cools. A perfect allegory for the battle Doremi has been waging. She confesses how she feels out of place, with no idea what her future will look like, what she wants to do with her life, while every single one of her friends seem to have it all sorted. The pain she feels. One more lesson, one more attempt. Sweat, tears, hard work, and Doremi finally succeeds.
これであとは一日ゆっくり熱を取れば完成よ。ねえ、明日必ず取りに来て。明後日じゃダメ。明日必ず。
Mirai is moving. Again. She tries to explain it. She's going to study glassblowing under a master of the craft in Venice, a 90-year-old man who doesn't have much left and would like to impart his wisdom onto someone. His name? Luigi. Her ex-boyfriend of decades and decades ago. Not just that, but the one that taught him glassblowing in the first place was her, Mirai. She still cares for him, but to keep appearances, to keep her witch identity and her current form, not to become a frog, she must pass for her own granddaughter. Doremi doesn't know, but Mirai does. She does, and she sees Doremi's future clearly, so she doesn't want to walk it alone anymore.
魔女の世界を知っているようで、実はガラス越しにしか見ていないようなもの。でも、もしその先を見てみたいなら、ベネツィア、私と一緒に来る？ドレミ、私と一緒に来る？
She goes back home, and she shuts herself in her room, ignoring her mother's shouts for her to come down and enjoy some food with her family. She won't listen. She cannot listen. All she can do is stare at the tinted glass. Doremi agonizes on this fork. But this time, it's Mirai who makes the choice for her. For herself. Mirai's younger self, who did not have someone to offer a different perspective when she was younger. Doremi's too late. She finds the cup and the photo they took together. I'm sorry. Let's meet again someday. Somewhere. Mirai's promise and hope stands. And so does Doremi's.
また会いましょう。
There's so much I wish to speak about this episode, this masterpiece, both as standalone and as part of a whole. But I don't think anything I'll say will ever do it justice, honestly. None of it will replace experiencing it for yourself. So if you have the opportunity to do so, I cannot recommend it enough. It is first and foremost a show about children, about these girls with diverse interests and pasts, befriending each other and learning this magic as they learn who they are together. And even though The Witch Who Stopped Being a Witch is my favorite episode of the show, it's by no means to tackle the heavier, more thoughtful topics. Earlier seasons and later seasons will have them, but I do believe especially the last season, Dokkan, touches me more because it starts wrapping up the main cast's arcs, which brings me to one of the few analyses I will let myself make. Much like many other anime and Japanese media, this episode fits very well into the Kisho Tenketsu story structure. Now, I'm by no means an expert in this area, but having done some research into less known story structures so I could write my romance novel, I could not unsee it as I revisited this episode. So let me explain it to you. Key intro. Doremi, a witch apprentice, faces a new fork in the road, both metaphorically and physically. Sho, development. She meets a witch who doesn't use magic anymore and befriends her, learning a lot about her new friend and herself. 10. Twist. This is where this type of structure diverges from a lot of other structures. Kisho Tenketsu doesn't require conflict, like most of the popular stories in the West, and instead delivers a twist in the third act, which by any means doesn't mean it can't accommodate conflict, it simply doesn't require it. This episode does have plenty of it, only it's completely internal. But at this point, with Doremi being offered a choice, stay your course, become a fully fledged witch, finally, and come to live with me in Venice. Sure, you'll be leaving your family, your friends, your life in this town, but by becoming a witch, you're gonna be doing that anyways. You'll be immortal. They'll all be gone eventually. Or stay. Embrace the human girl you already are, your mortality and the mundanity of this life. Give away the little magic you have and grow old alongside those who you love, but be plagued by the uncertainty of what you want to do with your limited time on this earth. This is when we expect Doremi to make a choice. She will come to her own conclusion, and the plot will move forward because of it. That's how it's supposed to go. Mirai, seeing her own life, full of so much joy and incredible memories, only her long years as a witch could provide her, but also plagued with regrets she cannot come to terms with. She knows what life awaits Doremi decades down the road if she makes the same choice Mirai did. And in that moment, in that situation, Mirai makes the choice for Doremi and leaves her behind with only mementos and memories, hoping Doremi can take the other path and find less suffering there. Kids. Conclusion. Doremi crosses that same bridge Mirai and her have, now fundamentally changed. So, now what? 4 years of her life, of her friends' lives, until they're finally asked the question. The frog curse placed on witches who have been found out by humans has been lifted, all thanks to them, and so they're finally offered it. No caveat, no surprising situation that will force them to trade those powers they have worked for away. This is it. Doremi, will you become a witch? It's not a straight line. Nothing in life is. She's eager, answer ready in her excitement, only to be reminded.
人間でもなくなることなのだ。
自由に魔法が使えるだけではなく、寿命が延びることでもあるのです。それは家族や友人たちとは別の時を生きるということなのです。
They're given a month to decide. A month to think. A month that passes in a flash, ironically. And in the end, they give it all away. But despite it seeming like they're throwing all these experiences out of the window, that's not what's happening, and they say it themselves. All of these girls had problems like lack of courage, the weight of expectations, difficulty making friends, a divorce in their family. All things they thought magic could fix somehow with a snap of their fingers, only for them to find the solution themselves. Together. Time will pass, differently for each, and things will change, just as it's meant to. But their memories will endure. And now, no matter what life throws at her, the unluckiest pretty girl in the world doesn't feel so unlucky anymore. Before we end this video, I wanted to go back to the bridge. The one Doremi and Mirai crossed together, the one that showed up as many times in that episode as the crossroads. It's another wonderful metaphor, as I'm sure we all noticed. Doremi crossing it many times back and forth during the episode, taking Mirai over and visiting it one more time as she promises to meet Mirai someday again. But on a more personal note, I'm the one who kept going back to this bridge. Somehow I felt like I've seen that bridge before, even though the entirety of the show is set in the fictitious city of Misora. It took a while, but it finally clicked. What I was looking for wasn't a place, but a feeling, a moment, a song. A song that has shaped me just as much as Ojamajo Doremi has. Looking back on my life as an artist, at first, it did feel like magic, a talent someone is born with. And then I started learning and learning and learning some more. And now I see how much of this magic is just the amalgamation of years of experience, of practice. And even more than that, it's a reflection of my life, my thoughts, my feelings, my beliefs, my place in this earth, molded into a shape so it can be communicated. It sets apart and it connects to those around me and to those I look up to strangers I've never met, to you. And with this spark I've nurtured inside of me all these years, little by little, I too have become a little immortal. And just like that, I was no longer in Doremi's shoes anymore. The task, especially now, is learn how to keep going with as much enthusiasm as her. It's really hard for me to talk about this episode. The show, Doremi, shaped me just as much as the other magical girl shows I watched growing up. But this one specifically has stayed with me even longer than the flashy transformations of any other magical girl show. To be honest, I don't think I can do it justice. This is my first attempt at a commentary video. It's not my area of expertise. But I knew that if I ever were to make an attempt, I would have to start with this topic that's so close to my heart. So thank you for taking your time to listen to my 4 a.m. sleep deprivation-induced thoughts. It means a lot to me. Before the video ends, I would like to ask you to check out my Patreon. If you like this video, you can make a small contribution to keep the channel going and keep my lights on. And if you don't have the means to support me financially, just watching the video is already a great way to do it. So thank you. Alright, that's it for now. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!